Hi, I'm going to share with you today a little recipe idea that I had, and it's delicious and yummy. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be showing you the video. So what I'm doing is I'm combining a cheesecake base with my chocolate mousse recipe. You can see the chocolate mousse recipe, it's going to pop up on your screen. This is my cheesecake base. So this is an 8-inch Pyrex dish, a sort of low one. It's about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches tall, and I've used 300 grams of biscuits. I've used two types. I've used digestive biscuits and I have used chocolate crunch creams with a fudge filling, so sandwich biscuit. And I've blended them up separately, which is why you can see that they are it's a slightly mottled colour as opposed to one even colour all over. You could obviously blend them together completely if you wanted to, and I used about 6 or 7 tablespoons of melted butter. But the amount of butter that you need will obviously be dependent on the type of biscuits that you use. If you use a biscuit that has a really high butter content, then you're probably not going to need as much butter. But the digestives I was using were the like own brand ones from Asda, and I'm not going to lie, they're not very good to eat on their own, but they are perfectly nice in a cheesecake. But it just means you have to add like a bit more butter. But this is going to turn out really nice, and what I want to do is I'm going to put this in the oven for 10 minutes. And normally I wouldn't do that, but I want to make sure that this really sets quite hard. So this is going to go in the oven at 150 degrees. I've preheated it for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to take it out and leave it to cool 100%. I've also chopped up 50 grams of white chocolate, and I'm going to sprinkle that on the bottom before I put the mousse over the top. But that is currently in the freezer because I want to make sure that it's really, really cold, because the way you make the mousse, as you'll know if you've watched the video, you do it in a pan, so it's like a warm mousse. So it's going to go onto here warm, and I don't want the chocolate to melt. I want there to be a bit of a change of texture. So because of that, I want the chocolate to be really, really cold so that it retains its shape and its crunch, and it doesn't just sort of melt into the chocolate mousse. So I will show you as I put it together. If you obviously don't want to bring the cheesecake base up all the way along the sides, you don't need to. It means you'll have a thicker base on the bottom. But what I will say is that chocolate mousse will stick. So I would recommend that you use a non-stick spray and you go all the way around it, or you butter it if you want to, just to make sure that that mousse comes away from the sides easily if you want a sort of pretty piece. Obviously if you're not bothered about that and you're going to eat it all to yourself, then that is not a problem. So I'll show you what this looks like when I've made the mousse and I'm just constructing it. If you do want to see how I make the mousse, then great, here's the link. If you don't want to, I'm sure that any of your mousse recipes would work absolutely fine. Just to make sure that you do not put it into a hot base. So let this cool properly before you put your mousse in, and it'll work absolutely fine. This is out of the oven. It's been out of the oven for about an hour now, and it's completely cold. Before I pour my mousse on, I've taken these out of the freezer a couple of minutes ago, so they're really, really cold. And the reason I want them to be cold is because I want them to retain their shape. You could just use chocolate chips if you want to, or you could do something else like nuts. That'd be really nice. And now to pour my mousse on. So here we go. This will set like this. You could completely leave this just as it is. I'm actually going to decorate this with a little bit of cream that I'm going to pipe on once this part has set. So this will go in the fridge now for a couple of hours and then I'll pipe. But I will put a picture on so that you can see what it looks like. But I really hope that you try it because it is really yummy, and I'll do a little side picture as well when I cut into it. Thanks for watching.